Okay, so I'm having a hell of a time trying to get this damn thing started. I want to read the rest of my book. I'm having just the hardest time. Ever since I made the last recording, I'm like, all right, well, I have to go when spirit moves me to go, then I'll start reading again. And it's just not, and I want to get it done. So I have been getting ready to record the second part of book 2 for about 2 hours. Sorry. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. So, Spirit, he said I gotta come on camera. And he said I gotta come on camera now. So, hi. How you doing? I'm Maggie. It's very nice to meet you. I am ill prepared to record on camera. Yet here I am in my pajamas. It's 2 and 3 in the afternoon. I don't know. Yes, I'm in my pajamas. But I thought I'd be recording the other way around and not seen. So, and this is how I have to meet everyone. I don't know how to look into a camera. I've never actually, I know I'm not supposed to smoke on camera either, but I smoke, so fuck. I am a spaz. I probably won't even. Okay, I will. I have to go with it. So, anyway, it's very nice to meet everyone face to face. I'm going by Maggie. I'm not entirely sure how to look into a camera because I don't generally record myself. I'm an extremely introverted person. Now, not my whole life. I haven't been. Used to be kind of I am back in the day. Maybe that's why Spirit moved me to put my mug on camera. I need to snap out of it. So, part of snapping out of it is really fucking snapping out of it. Loosen up, Jenny. So, now that I'm sufficiently embarrassed, I'm going to go ahead and read the next part of my book. All right, here we go. I'm in the third section. I think I'm like 44 years old around this time. When I left off on my last recording, it was a shit show because I just I was not the healthiest. I wasn't acting in the healthiest way. So how I handled leaving my client was rather embarrassing. I ended up, fuck you, Eileen. It was embarrassing. So that's where I left in the last section. And now we're talking about my third and final home care client. And here we go. My third client, Sunny. She was just that pure freaking sunshine. The first time we met, the agency social worker joined me at Sunny's apartment to introduce us and see how we get along before we'd start working together. When we sat down together, the social worker said something about using vulgar words, and I said to Sunny, I hope that's not an issue for you, because I swear like a sailor most of the time. And she got such a delightful gleam in her eye when I said that. I just knew we were going to get along great. And we did. We go on adventures. The first time we left her house, I asked where she wanted to go. We went to the beach. She used to go there years before when she was a kid. She said it gave her good memories. She's so sweet. Oh, Sunny was so sweet. When we'd leave, it was a big deal because she wasn't very mobile, so it was hard, and she had to use a walker, and then she'd have to sit once in a while and all that. So when we went to the beach, it was kind of a big deal for her because it had been probably 40 years since she'd been able to go over there because of her health problems. But anyway, sorry. Maybe not that long, but it seemed like it was forever, that look in her eye. Sorry I do this. It's because I'm writing about my own life, I think. I tend to get sidetracked. So it's just my floaty way. I'm a Pisces. I'm sorry about all this. I wasn't ready. I just started. I don't know why. My bed's not made. I have no makeup on. I look crazy. I'm in my pajamas. We're doing this. Oh my goodness. I swear to you, I'm my goodness, not nuts. Anywho, we pulled into the parking lot by the beach and we just sat in silence, and I stared at the water and it lapped ashore. It was a beautiful day. I asked her if she wanted to put her feet in. I'm telling you this anyway, so I don't know why I just told you this, but she had to use a walker and was afraid it would be too hard to do barefoot in the sand. Whew. I told her to keep her shoes on until we got to the water. Then I'd take them off for her and she could sit in her walker and then I'd push her to the water. It was a process. We made it to the water, and seeing her face when she put her feet in the water for the first time in too many years to even fathom was one of the most touching and beautiful things I'd ever seen in my life. It really was. It really was. Sunny was a wonderful person. She was always laughing and looking for adventure. She was the youngest of 4 girls and a fireman's daughter. She's also a bit nosy. Sunny was poor as a church mouse, but she liked to act and dress like she was rich. She knew if she lived long enough, she'd eventually get some money. So we shopped a lot. Whew. She loved those places that if you use your credit card and the weekly coupon together, you just saved 80%. You know? She's so funny. I spent more money than I earned working with Sunny. It was fun, and it was very rewarding, and she had an appreciation for people that inspired me. She lived in an apartment building right in the middle of downtown. And over the many years she had lived there, it had turned from low to mid-income to slowly becoming too swanky to accept Section 8 housing vouchers on the slot of the millennial generation. If we have time, let's talk gentrification. Anyway, fancier, and that's what she liked. There was a very quiet woman at Sunny's apartment building who roamed the halls for years cleaning. I always said hi, and she'd smile and nod. I noticed she wasn't around and asked Sunny about it. She said no one was doing the job for weeks and she didn't know why, but a new guy had just started. Dun, dun, dun. One day, as I was bringing Sunny home and we were entering the lobby, I was distracted by getting her wheelchair through the door, so I had not glanced ahead to the lobby until we were inside the building. When I looked straight ahead, I saw the new guy smack dab in front of me. He was standing in the middle of the room, mopping the floor. I could only see his silhouette. He was bathed in a stream of gold light coming from the window. It surrounded his form in a light that was so beautiful and mesmerizing to me. It was so beautiful that I didn't even look at him. I just became very aware of him. Zing, pow, wow, sex. Jeez. It was going on 10 years since I had wanted it. But now, it was then and now that my body had decided, time's up, lady. That's him. Go and get the man. Whoa. And then slow down, Maggie. Cool your thrusters. You only saw the back of his head. What the fuck? She's alive. Alive. Trust me, Sunny noticed. She's so freaking funny. Sunny was a born matchmaker. All I had to do was ask her one question about the new guy, not knowing that he'd already asked her one question about me. That was all it took for me to feel that it was for her to feel that it was her sworn duty to match us together. So she planted her seeds. She told him that I noticed him, and she told me that he likes my smile. So by the time he said hello to me in January of 2014, he was already heavy on my mind. Job well done, Sunny. Very smooth. His name was Mo. He introduced himself with the line, "I like the gap in your teeth. It reminds me of my daughter's mother." Now, most women would be turned off by the A, comparison to the baby mama, B, pointing out of the tooth gap, and C, unapologetic subliminal message that suggested there'd always be another woman. Jesus. However, I'm not most women. I was literally struck dumb. My mouth was hanging open. I stared at his back as he walked away. I stared for at least 30 seconds. Wide mouth. Embarrassing. I didn't shut my mouth until he turned to see if I was watching him. I was in a trance in my life. I didn't know it. He snapped me the hell out of it with one silly sentence. I was a wallflower. I made sure that I blended in to detract from getting any attention. He didn't seem to notice or care about that. He seemed interested in me. Me. I was 44 years old. My eldest, Alyssa, she's 27 and she just given birth to my first grandchild, a baby girl named Heaven. My daughter Teddy was 20 and Andre was 13. Alyssa, her partner Barway, and of course little Heaven, had just moved back into my house to save money for a new place. They were in my son's tiny room and my son was sleeping in the living room. My life was pretty chaotic. I was completely unprepared to be interested in a man. However, my body did not agree, and I was on high alert. When Mo gave me his phone number, I called him. Our first phone conversation told me a lot about my lack of dating and socializing skills. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It had been so long since I had even considered romance. I had reached a point where it was not even something I even dreamed about or really even thought about anymore. My entire life was family or work. Sonny was my best friend. Where do I look? Okay, I guess I am looking down here the whole time. I'm sorry, guys. I seriously, you're up here, but it feels funny to look there because then I'll get used to it. Yeah. I'll get used to it. When Mo gave me his phone number, I called him. Our first phone conversation told me a lot about my lack of dating and socializing skills. I just couldn't believe it. It had been so long since I had even considered romance. I had reached a point where it was not even something I even dreamed about or really thought about anymore. My entire life was family or work. Sonny was my best friend. Let's just say I was speechless. He told me all about himself. What he likes on TV, what kind of movies, the dynamics of his family, where they lived, where he came from, his culture, his life dreams, and his aspirations. He talked about his kids and his prior relationships and what he did every day. He found out that my name is Maggie and I work with Sonny. We were on the phone for 2 hours. That's all I contributed. It didn't even dawn on me to see it as him being self-absorbed. I just figured that I wasn't all that interesting and I liked listening to his accent. Honestly, I didn't speak a lot until we'd been together for many years. At first, I'd write him. I'd write him letters. Actual letters. Like we did in grade school. I could tell him how I felt when I'd write to him. When we were alone, I'd mostly just listen and watch. I enjoyed his vibration. He made me feel like I was more than I thought I was before, just because I was with him. He paid me a lot of attention for the first few years. We were back and forth, hot and cold, for the entire time we saw each other. It always felt like it was on the verge of slipping away. My diary, it was insane. Reading it now, I can't believe how I saw all of the red flags that Mo was showing me. I saw every one of them. I even wrote about them. I always made quick excuses for him because he was so dreamy to me. He ticked all the boxes that I didn't even know I'd been longing for. Attention, mind-blowing sex, flattery. He was interested in my life, and he listened to me. He listened to me. He was funny and charming, and he was down to earth. He was humble and grateful. He loved his family and his children. I was taken with him immediately. Then I became devoted to him. Then ultimately, I fell deeply in love with him. When we met, my life was in a rut. Every day led to the next. I enjoyed my work. I loved my family. But I didn't recognize that I had so much loneliness in me. I didn't recognize the void. I was stable financially. My parents were looking into retirement. My kids were starting to form their own identities, and they were starting to build their own foundations. I was on the precipice of empty nest syndrome. I was so young when I became a mom. Then I had all of my kids 7 years apart. I didn't plan that. I had a solid 27 years experience handling everything that came with being a full-time mom. I had to deal with sick kids. I had to deal with fight moderating, negotiations, school plays, sports, dance recitals, broken hearts, counseling, school meetings, being a drill sergeant, nursing, accountant, chef, sole provider for my kids. Who the hell was I if I wasn't a mother working diligently for my children, working for our family? I didn't know it most on me at all. I did not. I knew that I was kind of cute in a bookish kind of way, but far from perfect. I also knew I was kind, I was genuine, I was honest, and that those qualities made me attractive. But he was more of an edgy and hip type of person. He radiated confidence and purpose. It made me feel really special that he noticed me. It was beautiful of an experience. It was so beautiful of an experience to feel free and open with someone else and have them understand me inside and out. I was overwhelmed with gratitude that someone was grateful for me. I was happy that I made him happy too. When I met Mo, I was the heaviest weight I had ever been. I never paid any attention to myself. I actually stopped seeing myself as a sexual being entirely. I became almost asexual because I was numb. I had unconsciously taken my father's advice and tried to be better off without a man by eliminating any possibility of sexual expression or fulfillment for myself. I never even looked at my own body until there was a sudden prospect of getting naked with someone. Then I took a look. I could not believe it. I couldn't believe it. Assessing my body in the mirror was my first step. I was not healthy or happy with what I saw. I was a great cook, and somewhere along the way, food became not only my way to nourish the people I love, an expression of my love, but it also became another way to mask my feelings of need. Looking back, I think I overate because I wanted extra weight to hide me away from men and for protection against my own lustful feelings and unfulfilling sexual desires. I wanted love. I always sought it out through sex. It never worked. I really didn't understand that the void I had was the need for intimacy. True, unconditional love. Unquestioned loyalty, honesty, the binding of souls and commitment. I didn't know my own need at all. I was scared of myself. There was a new desire within me to be honest with myself about how out of control my self-punishment was. Why was I being so mean to me? That mirror assessment was the eureka moment of understanding within me that I didn't want to be mean to myself anymore. Mo was happy as hell. He was. He loved my body. I was very confused by that, but I also appreciated it because his desire for me put me at ease, and I wasn't self-conscious with him at all. He was a gift, a beautiful gift that I cherished. There was always an underlying tension, though, even in the best moments, and there were a lot of great moments. Hanging out, talking, cooking, laughing, enjoying the magical bubble we would create when we were together. But it was a bubble. He didn't come to my house or spend much time getting to know my family for first few years that we lived together. Years that we were together. We never lived together. Every step involving evolving us, it took an eternity. Eventually, I feel like I'm going cross-eyed. My glasses are distracting me. I stare at the recording. Maybe I'll just go like this. Oh my goodness. That's what I'm going to do for a little while, okay? There was always an underlying tension, even in the best moments. And there were a lot of great moments. Just hanging out and talking and cooking and laughing and enjoying the magic bubble we would create when we were together. It was a bubble. He did not come to my house or spend much time getting to know my family the first few years we were together. Every step involving evolving us took an eternity. Eventually and slowly, he was introduced to everyone I loved. He even helped me paint my family's. Excuse me. He even helped my family paint my sister's house, but he was never a fixture. He didn't want to be fully involved in any portion of my life that wasn't about him. My chaotic life didn't stop, so my regular life was my life. And my life in the bubble was our life. Kind of separate things there. That's true though. Oh, I lost my place. Just as my daughter Alyssa and her family moved out to their own place, my daughter Teddy was in a severe car accident and my life changed once again. Her poor foot was basically a bag of bones and she needed 3 surgeries to rebuild it. My dad built a room in the living room by hanging a curtain for her. She couldn't walk up the stairs. She needed a latrine and hand showers. She couldn't walk at all for many months. It was a very stressful time, and Mo was MIA. That became a trend for us. My life was always stressful, but the really real stuff, the stuff that caused life and perspective and priorities to change, that's the stuff that he didn't want to participate in. He actually had a phrase that he used. I just removed myself from the equation. If he can't handle it or understand it, then he's out. I started questioning his fidelity in the first year we were together. The ex was always sniffing around and liking stuff on his social media. He painted a picture of her as a clingy fangirl. He told me that when we met, that they had been over for 9 months. Then he asked how long for me, and I said 9 years, and that ended the talk of his ex. He never really believed me, I don't think. The no sex, 9, almost 10 years thing. It was unfathomable to him. He somehow made me feel like I was a hussy or easy, even though I definitely was not. He acted like I was hot for everybody all the time. Hot for every man that spoke to me. What the fuck? He constantly accused me of cheating. I chalk it up to him being an insecure and jealous person, but I knew in my heart it was because he was cheating. I just refused to listen to that annoying asshole voice inside of my head. The damn voice didn't get it. Doesn't the voice understand that he's had a hard life? He didn't act the way I wanted him to, but how can I say I love him when I want to change him at the same time? That's not right. I needed to be more flexible and show compassion and understanding, so then he'd feel supported, and then he'd know my love was true. I wanted to be safe and loved. He said he wanted me to be safe and loved too. That had to be enough. Hopefully, in time, he'd start to see and appreciate how much I sacrificed to be with him. So, we persisted. He'd leave me during the dark and painful interludes of my life, and I'd seek him out after many months of separation, because I convinced myself during the separation that the entire thing was my fault. And if I would have been more understanding and grateful for the positive things that we had, then everything wouldn't have gone to hell in a handbasket. I was deluding myself with half-truths and false assumptions because I missed my friend. I wanted connection. I definitely was dying for his validation. We did this for years, with small separations, a few weeks, a few months. I started writing a lot and singing to express my angst. This poem sums up how I was feeling. Do you see me? I want to see you. Fear has stopped us. I need to see what's inside. Come closer and try. I want all of you to want all that is me. Sorry. Stop trying to hide. Come into me. Pretend there's no pain. Just feel. Erase all doubt. See what's real. Don't run away. I need more. I need your core. I want you to want mine, amor. The surface hurts. I need the deep. I know it hurts more, but it holds the truth I seek. Evading and dodging the need within only wounds me more. What can you give? Two souls connecting, unbreakable bonds, bodies touching, doesn't bring the sweet song I long for. I need you, the you of you, the all of you. Take all of me. It's already yours. I felt so isolated, even though we were together all the time. Doubts in my head, always a reason to be not completely comfortable, tension. We were on the high note when I got the call. The day had been really beautiful, actually. We were making dinner. We just cuddled up to watch a movie. It was March 2018. Dad was in the hospital. He had collapsed. I knew it was serious because my parents were out of town for the day on an adventure, and we had to go pick up Mom. He was in a coma for 12 days. We had to remove his life support and watch him die. I have no real words that can describe this experience. First was complete panic. Mo was a bit worried about me driving to get Dad. It was the first of countless trips back and forth to the hospital. It was 45 minutes away. My mom, me, Bella, my mom's sister Terry, and Charlie would go back and forth. Eventually, many relatives made the trip to see him. He never woke up. They think he had a cardiac arrest after aspirating. We'll never know for sure because Mom didn't want an autopsy. I disagreed, but I kept it to myself. I've been doing a lot of that, just keeping to myself. Sorry, one of my kids came in. Yeah, what can you do? I'm all on the side here. Anyway, I guess now I'm not sly because I just gave it away. Let me go back here because... One minute. Love the hell out of my dad. Really, really do. Great person. Okay. They think he had a cardiac arrest after aspirating. We'll never know for sure because Mom didn't want an autopsy. I disagreed, but I kept it to myself. I've been doing a lot of that, just keeping it to myself. We had a memorial to plan. Mom deferred a lot of responsibility to us kids, and we handled it. He had a really nice memorial. Over 200 people came. Our cousins, my niece Justine, she sang beautifully. Old truckers congregated in the lobby while 70s rock played in the background, and the food was good. Dad would have liked it, I think. 12 days watching him die. He was not still. He raged against the respirator. They heavily sedated him. He was brain dead, they said, and he couldn't feel anything. The body's natural response. He looked agitated and in pain. Me and Bella and Charlie and Mom and Terry had to make decisions to stop his breathing support, food and water. We starved, dehydrated, and suffocated my dad. How in the fuck will that ever be okay? I was at the hospital way more than home, and Mo was there for me when I called him. I just ramble on the phone about my stress and pain, and he listened. He was present for me during that time, and I was beyond grateful. Me, Bella, and my cousin Dot were there at the hospital when it happened. Only Dot watched him die. Me and Bella went to the garage sale in the hospital basement. He died while I was looking at kitchen towels. I knew it when they called us. His skin was so hot before I left the room. He struggled. I tried to soothe him by rubbing his arm, drying his forehead. I told him that I loved him so much, and it would be okay. He was cold when we came back, his face distorted. We left him there, dead in the hospital, and went home. They cremated him at a place located on the south side of the neighborhood where he grew up. They burned him. All that remained when they were done was a pile of sand. He was kept into the garage until the day before his memorial. I had a hard time getting over that, but I understood. It was so painful, so shocking. It made everyone numb. So I didn't say anything. Mo attended Dad's funeral, and we lasted a few months beyond Dad's death, but it was never certain. So by the end of June, we were over again. It was all just too much for him. I knew it was, all the way back to when I was talking to him on the phone while I was in the hospital. I even told him about a children's book my mom used to read to me when I was little. It was called The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein, or Silverstein, I'm not sure. Shel Silverstein. The Giving Tree. It was a book about an apple tree that provided food and shade and wood and everything to everyone, but nobody took care of the tree. So it was reduced to a stump that could no longer provide anything to anyone. I was worried that Mo was being my giving tree, and I didn't want him to be a stump. He walked away. He removed himself from the equation, and I was left to deal with the aftermath of losing my father on my own. It was bad. My dad took care of all of us in so many ways that we really could not appreciate it fully until after he was gone. The stiff upper lip trick of the past was not going to work this time. My mom was the glue that kept our family together. My dad was the heart and the drive. Silently and diligently, he was the one who maintained the functionality of our lives. It snowed while he was dying, and we had to be responsible for our own snow removal. What a shit show! It was embarrassing. My house, Bella's house, Mom's house, constantly being maintained by Dad, and we didn't ask. He just did. He actually brought his own snowblower to every house to do the job. He used a ramp. We are appreciated and we are comforted by him all of the time. But didn't we realize that we are a fucking burden? It's so true. He was 71 years old. How the hell did we not see that he needed us to step up? The following years would provide our realization and full appreciation for him. Too late, too little, too bad. Too bad. Mo and I had been separated for many months again when he called me out of the blue because he broke his foot and he needed my help. So I dropped every priority in my life to nurse him back to health. And then he left me again 3 months later as soon as he was well. I believed that was it. The end of a long road. We were finally over. I was ready to try something new and really look within myself to figure out how to end this cycle. I tried to accept that we were over. I was reeling from the loss of my dad, followed by Mo leaving again. I couldn't process anything yet, but I was really trying to, and then a very, very scary thing happened. The prolapse I was talking about at the beginning. It really felt like my insides were dropping out of my body. It was very upsetting and scary. I didn't call him. I lost my job. Didn't call him. Went through surgery and recovery. Didn't call him. Spoke again in February, and I was just starting to heal. He told me he didn't believe in marriage. He would marry me if that's what I needed. He would do that for me. The same night, he accused me of cheating. I left because I could feel the deceit. I could feel the lies and the cheating and the scheming going on inside him as he professed his desire to be in union with me. He was not being honest with me. Over again so fast. I presumed it would be temporary, but this time it was not. I found out 2 months later when I looked at his social media page and saw him dancing around to a song about being set free. It was heartily liked and emojied by the other love interest, his main love interest. The woman he told me he broke up with 9 months before he met me. The one he painted out to be a clingy fangirl. I understood in that moment that I had been lying to myself the entire 6.5 years. You guys, 6.5 years. We were together. He was never single. He only ever saw me as someone to use for entertainment purposes. Check in. Can we just take a breath and start to unravel what was happening in this relationship? Mo came from a very different country and culture than I was raised in. He was brought up in a culture that emphasized the need for men to be very masculine and not openly express their feelings. His culture, relatives, friends, they also taught him that people of my race were only good for sex, money, or wild oat sowing. Kind of like Coming to America. Yeah, wild oat sowing. But never to marry or have a family with unless they were wealthy, and then there was different guidelines altogether. He was heavily pressured to only commit to someone within his race and his religion. He was also heavily pressured to use this opportunity in the USA to do right by his people, get educated, become successful, return to his country, ready to share the wealth that he had accumulated only with his people, and that was loyalty. Mo was abandoned by his dad when he was a small child. His dad moved to the US to make money for his family. He did send money, but then he was only visited once a year to give gifts and punishments. And then he also started a family in the new country. He was later abandoned by his mom as well when she moved to the United States when he was only 14 years old. She brought along his younger brother, but she left him to finish being raised by his 3 teenage brothers, who were slightly older. He was abused terribly the entire time he grew up by his parents, his brothers, his extended relatives. He learned at a young age not to expect nurturing or unconditional love. He was taught that his worth was measured by his income, his family, culture, loyalty, and his sexual prowess. Although he was raised in the church and his mom was a devout follower, the religion that he was learning was not comforting. It was threatening. It was guilt-filled. It was used as a way to measure his worth as well. His mother would line up Mo with his 4 brothers to be paraded single file, wearing their Sunday best as they walked to church. What a fantastic mother. Look at those well-dressed, well-behaved boys. What they did not know was that really fantastic mom attacked him in the shower that morning while he was naked and vulnerable and beat the shit out of him with a strap and a stick because he was taking too long. Praise Jesus. Fake people. Fake faith. No love. Unhealthy loyalty. No soul deep joy. By the time I met Mo, he was well on his way to following his father's footsteps. He had a family in the country he came from. He told me he was not married to the mom, but they had a son together. Now, I'm not so sure that was true. He also had a family in the US. He has a daughter. I met her. We hung out a few times. We went on a bike ride together. She's a lovely young woman. He told me that her mom was abusive and a stalker. Now, I'm not so sure. Every ex-girlfriend Mo talked about, they were described as horrible people in one way or another. That would also be the first red flag that I chose to ignore. I did question him about it, and I expressed to him that I doubted the truth of what he was saying, but he was adamant and very convincing that all the women were terrible, horrible people. So I accepted that as truth, and I blew it off. I am certain now that I am a horrible, terrible, awful person as well to anyone he talks to, because it's just easier for him to paint me that way so he can eventually become the truth in his mind, so he won't be responsible for the carnage he's left. Mo was not a person that could be happy for long. He was always most comfortable when he was angry at someone or something. He'd enjoy, relish even, the occasion when he could vent through ranting. I was always happy. I was most comfortable with the rose-colored glasses that I had always worn. Anger had always been an uncomfortable emotion for me to express because it caused me to feel ashamed. I've avoided expressing or feeling anger like the plague throughout my entire life. Usually, I could avoid it by turning whatever situation that was making me angry into an opportunity to look at the bright side of things and grasp on to my hope and my faith. If that trick doesn't work, And then I was still angry. I could just look for things that I was responsible for in the situation. Take accountability for it. Vow to be better so I could express the anger towards myself instead. This would help me feel grounded, and then I'd feel happy inside again. Smooth sailing or something close to it? Mo would say that's what he wanted for life. Troubled waters were never his problem because as soon as there was a storm, he'd leave. I understood why he'd leave, but I don't think he ever realized how much he was blocking his own happiness and growth as a person by avoiding having anything hard to go through. He ran. He didn't go through anything with anyone. There was nothing to work through. So there'd never be a lesson to learn. Because nothing ever happened. Overdone. The lone wolf or tumbleweed kind of life. It just seems so unfulfilling to me. My entire life was riddled with troubled waters. I had a trouble waddle riddle. Oh boy. I think maybe I'm losing my energy. I wanted to read through this whole section, but now I'm not entirely sure. I feel it coming right out of me. Just give me a moment. Can you shut the door, honey? Hi. So I'm realizing that something that I did not know was going to be true. Okay? Excuse me. Writing the book was difficult. It took a toll, you know? But it felt like a personal kind of cleansing type of thing. Like I'm diving deep, getting through there, trying to figure things out, trying to find my way, trying to feel centered, you know? But somewhere in there, I'm telling you, it became less and less about me, even though the entire damn thing I'm reading is about me, my life. It is my life, okay? But the sum of all this is the most important part. It's the explaining of the difficulties, the kind of skewed mindset of being a codependent person, okay? It's hard to just, it's so easy to take a label, okay? Oh, he's codependent. She's codependent. Slap it around like, oh, that solves everything. What the fuck does codependent mean? You know, when you really think about it, okay, you depend on somebody else for your own happiness. And that just seems so lame. Isn't that stupid? Why would someone do that? But look deeper into it and it's like, bam, okay, there's a lot more to it than this. That's what I'm trying to get to the explaining of the very kind of difficult moments. They're very difficult moments in my life. So what I realized kind of really pretty much after I reviewed the first video going from 0 to 18 was that it drained me. It drained me physically. It drained me emotionally. I had to kind of pump myself up to get to a point where I was high enough vibing so that I could read this in a way wasn't feeling like down presser for the person that's listening, you know, because that's not what I want to do. I want to uplift, not press down, you know. So I think that's the reason for all the silliness today. I think that's the reason for the coming on, showing my face. My hair's not even combed. I swear to goodness, guys. I just flipped the camera around and started recording. Because I knew if I took the time to get all, and then I just freak myself out and get myself to a state that, where is the uplifting in? Yeah. It's much better to see some goofy lady in her jammies because this is tough shit I'm talking about. But the whole point of it is getting to the lessons at the end of the darn thing, you know? So, yeah, this is me in my raw state. So it's very nice to meet you. I hope I have the cojones to actually upload this because, I guess this just drives home the point. This is me, of which I have, my focus is wanting to send the message of this book, not have the focus on me. See? So, me and my jammies, and my uncombed hair, and my not very good videoing skills because I don't know where to look, is all just me being me and figuring this thing out as I go along because I want to follow this through. I want to finish reading this out, and then I just kind of want to leave it out there to the universe. And I'm hoping that whoever can be helped by this ultimately finds the video. And even if that's 20 years from now, I'm okay with that. It's okay. Yeah. I guess I ran out of steam. I would like to stop because it all kind of mumble jumbled there for a second, and I just kind of felt like I was blah blah blah. And I really don't want to do my writing like that. I'd like to give it all of my own. So, I guess we'll stop there. Should I stop here? Oh God! All right, let's just keep going. I just want to get through this section here and then get through it. I wanted to read through this part and then, because this book 3-part is a pretty long section. These are very heavy. I wonder, am I screaming this whole time? Oh my God. You guys. They're heavy and I was going to do an audio. So if I've been yelling at you for 46 minutes and 43 seconds, I'm really sorry. Let me take one of these out here. Maybe that's why my energy is so drained. I'll bet that's what it is. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, that's so funny. Okay, I'm just going to finish this section I wanted because I have a whole other. Book 3 is a hefty, and the next portion is about the lessons. So this one, the whole thing's about the lessons for real. But yeah, no, it's going to take me because this talks about being an empath and stuff. So this will drain me a bit. So I'm going to stop here. I'll just mark where I left, and if I upload, I upload. If I don't, then you'll never see this. So we don't got to worry about it. Otherwise, bye.